The Trump campaign used these false claims of election fraud to raise hundreds of millions of dollars from supporters who were told their donations were for the legal fight in the courts. But the Trump campaign didn't use the money for that. The big lie was also a big ripoff.
That was Representative Lofgren on day 2 of the House Select Committee hearings. And of course, they're tasked with investigating the riots that took place in the nation's capital on January 6th and the lies that continue to be perpetuated by Donald Trump in regard to the 2020 presidential election. Now, we learned just how much money Donald Trump had scammed from his own supporters following the 2020 election by repeating the big lie. And in the next video, you'll see Amanda Wick. She's the senior investigative counsel for the Select Committee, explaining in detail just how he did it.
Between Election Day and January 6th, the Trump campaign sent millions of fundraising emails to Trump supporters, sometimes as many as 25 a day. The emails claimed the quote, left-wing mob was undermining the election, implored supporters to quote, step up to protect the integrity of the election, and encourage them to quote, fight back. But as the Select Committee has demonstrated, the Trump campaign knew these claims of voter fraud were false, yet they continued to barrage small dollar donors with emails, encouraging them to donate to something called the Official Election Defense Fund. The Select Committee discovered no such fund existed.
I don't believe there is actually a fund called the Election Defense Fund.
Is it fair to say that the Election Defense Fund was another, I think we called it a marketing tactic?
Yes.
And tell us about these funds as marketing tactics.
Just the topic matter, where money could potentially go to be, how money could potentially be used.
The claims that the election was stolen were so successful, President Trump and his allies raised $250 million, nearly $100 million in the first week after the election.
So he lied about the existence of an official election defense fund, scammed his own supporters to the tune of $250 million, and that money wasn't used to do any type of investigation or legal battle to ensure the election wasn't stolen from Donald Trump. And I go back and forth between whether Trump genuinely believed the election was stolen from him or Trump just knowing that it wasn't stolen from him, but he decided to perpetuate the lie anyway and also scam his followers. Honestly, considering how many high-level officials, both campaign officials and administration officials were surrounding him, telling him the truth about the 2020 election, I just have a hard time believing that he genuinely thought he had the election stolen from him.
No, the answer is both, and I'll explain how that could be both. So I'm positive, he's definitely genuinely crazy. And I know people who believe in conspiracy theories. They 100% believe it. They're not faking it at all. And Trump has believed almost every conspiracy theory he's ever heard. Remember, he went on Alex Jones' show and said, this is a fantastic show, right? And so, but at the same time, he knows subconsciously, hey, I keep that clock going, I'm gonna get that money, right? So both because he partly believes it and he knows it's convenient, he keeps collecting the money. And if you say, well, those two things can't be logically consistent. Either he's collecting the money and he knows he's lying. No, guys, but remember, Trump isn't logically consistent. One point doesn't have to connect to the other point. He could think, this is totally stolen from me. I know I'm lying, but it's definitely true. And you think, well, no, you can't think both things. But Trump can, because he's not rational. So that I solved the mystery for you, okay? So now look at this, what he did though. He called it the official election defense fund. And it didn't even exist.
It doesn't exist, just a marketing ploy.
Guys, think about it. If Bernie Sanders had done an official election defense fund, and we found out it doesn't even exist, and our audience, us, people we know and love and care about, had given $250 million to it, and it's gone. I'd be like, what? We would be enraged. We would certainly ask questions.
Especially,
Bernie, where'd it go, right?
Especially during a pandemic where tens of millions of Americans had lost their jobs. People were already struggling financially prior to the pandemic. But I mean, Trump has no shame. I mean, think about it. He scammed and defrauded students with Trump University. He loved to scam and defraud people. There was also campaign fundraising emails where his supporters had no idea that the default setting for the donations was recurring, meaning that they donate once, thinking they're only donating once, but every month it kept recurring. Right?
He just keeps grabbing more money out of their account. But he ran a fake charity where he just bought pictures of himself.
Literally.
I mean, literally. But guys, it's amazing. Trump being a con man is not amazing. He's a legendary con man. I'll give him that. Definitely the biggest con man in American history by a lot, right?
Makes Bernie Madoff blush.
Oh yeah, Bernie Madoff's nothing compared to Trump. Now, having said that, that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is the voters. They don't mind being robbed. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like if we were robbed, we'd be really mad about it. And in fact, we are super mad at the corporate Democrats all the time, which is like 90% of the Democratic Party, because they say they're gonna do one thing and then they do something else and we call them out on it immediately. But like Republicans, especially Trump voters, have like this big sign around their neck, please rob me. Like I don't mind at all. Just take my money and use it for your mansions, use it for your yacht. I don't care, please rob me, right? They don't mind at all, it's amazing. All right, so now I'm gonna give you one more sense of the robbery here. Kimberly Guilfoyle, that's his son's girlfriend. She gave a speech on January 6th. You know how much they paid her? First, let me tell you, it was a weighty speech, 2.5 minutes. That's exactly how long it was. You know how much they paid her? $60,000.
That sounds like a pretty sweet gig to me.
Yeah, they take guys who are working hard, Trump fans and voters.
Yep.
Given, by the way, the average donation was $17, okay? So these are not rich folks. So they're like, oh man, I'm making minimum wage, but I love Trump so much. They give their hard-earned $17, and Trump was, hey, who wants it? Who wants it? Oh, Kimberly, you want it? Here, I'll give you $60,000. You know how much that is in minimum wage? If you're working a full-time minimum wage job, federal minimum wage, it would take you 4 years to earn that money.
It's insane.
4 years. She did it in 2.5 minutes. So, I mean, Republican voters, you tell us, do you mind being robbed or don't you? The committee, there was one thing that was a little confusing. Trump funneled about $10 million, give or take, to himself, allies, his hotels, etc. But it doesn't look like he spent a dime on the thing that he was raising money for, the court fights. So where's the other $240 million?
It's a great point. That's a great point. And I don't know if they're gonna get into that with the rest of the hearings that will take place. Obviously, they investigated the fundraising that took place with Trump lying about the 2020 election in these fundraising emails. We'll see what happens. But so far, to the point that you've made repeatedly, Cenk, this select committee has done an excellent job in presenting a lot of compelling evidence and also evidence that we were not privy to before, which I didn't think was possible, so.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.